really have such an like impressive, long-lasting impact from CEOs, executive level, all the way down to individuals that just need help in teams. So you've had a long career, and I just would love you to kick it off with where the journey began. And
Mine, like so many journeys, started by chance. I discovered completely by accident. Now we're talking back in 2020 that I had a gift for running. And at that time, I was a very different person than I am today. I had no self-confidence, no career path to speak of, no dreams, very little happiness in my life. And I certainly never believed I would amount to anything professionally. I knew I could always get a job, but I never believed I would amount to anything that other people would value or that I would value. And through running, it was the very first time in my life that I actually started listening to my inner voice. So, and this was by chance, as so many things do happen to us. We get opportunities and we don't necessarily take them. So I started running because it felt good and it was fun. I realized that I actually was quite good at it. And even when I didn't believe it, other people were telling me this, but I kept on running. And had I not listened to that inner voice that said, Alex, you've got to run, I wouldn't be sitting here with you. And I'm not being dramatic. This would be the case. I don't know if I'd still be alive.
you've achieved things that very few women in history have ever been able to do, which has informed your resilience and informed your approach to your life. So what are those achievements?
Okay, I won't go through all of them because it wasn't just one or two. It ended up being 13 major solo extreme challenges for charity, and it spanned 8 years. So 8 years of my life, during which my career was taking off as well, was dedicated to this. So some of them, just let's say the highlights: 2010 kilometers in 31 days. Which was 70 kilometers every day for 31 days in the Spanish summer. So going from 38, sort of from 30, mid 30 degrees up to 47 degrees, where the cheese in my sandwich melted that day. That was one of the highlights. My last and final challenge of the 13 challenges was 400 kilometers non-stop running in Spain again. I did two UK challenges actually, which one of them was running from Salisbury non-stop to Norwich, which is 315 kilometers. Perhaps the most fun and highlighting, not the most difficult of all the challenges, but I ran a 123-kilometer race in the Spanish mountains against a horse. And I beat the horse. And that makes me literally the only person in the world who has ever beaten a horse in over 10 miles. I think two men have beaten a horse on a 10-mile race, but I beat a horse over 123 kilometers.
So through all these incredible expeditions that even just talking about has made me out of breath and my legs are aching, you've been able to, you built such incredible resilience.
I ran the 8 years of solo challenges, and during that time, I developed my resilience. I developed this endurance mindset to be able to not just keep going, but to keep going sustainably well and to keep reaching my top performance and knowing when to stop and hold back. My business, I developed personal excellence. I developed all of these things, and I developed my business through those years. And in 2014, when I retired from the extreme solo running at that level and doing it as challenges, I said, okay, my challenges are over. Now I can focus 100% on my work, on life. No more fear, no more pain, no more worries. Little did I know. And this was in 2014, and I was fully developing my business. And in 2017, my dad died suddenly. I separated, and at exactly the same time I was operated for what was supposed to be a benign lump, and I woke up from the operation and I realized that it was malignant breast cancer, because they had taken lymph nodes out from under my arm. And I had that moment when I said, this cannot possibly be me. And then I said, it was over a 24-hour period. I was speaking to friends and family, and going on through in a sense, in a matter of routine, but inside me I was having this conversation. And after I let myself get through that shock, the initial shock, I then said, hold on a second, Alex. You thought that the running years were your challenges, and you even called them challenges. They weren't challenges. They were the warm-up to get you ready for life itself, not just for cancer, but for cancer and everything else. Because prior to this, with clients and in keynote speeches, occasionally people used to say to me, they'd say, Alex, yes, all of this is great, but you have to be realistic. When life hits you, you'll see it's not so easy. And I used to say, yes, it is this easy. When we change before change finds us, when we build up our resilience, our endurance, a realistic balance, when we're on a path that is right for us, we can face anything, and we can overcome anything, even if we don't know what the outcome is going to be. So when I had that flash moment, I said, okay, what do I teach in my talks? What do I teach in my boardroom advisory or in my executive learning? What do I teach individual clients? I teach all of these issues. Alex, you don't run from challenges. You don't just overcome them. You embrace them and you win from them. And this is what you're going to do. And this was bringing my mindset that was mine, and I had developed and I'd worked it already. Now, if I hadn't developed this, then I would have had to overcome the shock, overcome all of what was happening to me. But I knew, and also with my work with burnout and burnout prevention, I knew exactly how to fortify my body, my mind, my habits, to prepare me to deal with everything that cancer was going to, and the chemotherapy and radiation was going to throw at me. So all of my work worked in my favor. My realistic positive attitude worked in my favor. So in a sense, it's when people ask me, what's your proof of concept, Alex? I tell them this is what, and all the clients that I've worked with globally is also a proof of concept. But my personal one was, I was told that life would hit me too hard, and it didn't. And I sailed through it. I wouldn't like to go through it. I hope I don't have to go through it again. But I had all the tools to face that, to face the pandemic, to face everything. We all struggle in life, but we need these tools to be able to get through them. And it's better to prepare ourselves before. And this is what my work does.
The notion is that you build an endurance mindset. If you have an endurance mindset, you have resilience. And then if you have resilience, you'll never get burnout.
Yes. Also, if we have resilience, we reach our full performance as well. Sustained full performance. So we cannot prevent burnout if we don't have all of these elements in our lives. And in companies as well, this applies. So and the thing about burnout is, because I've been working, I started researching and working with burnout probably about 13, 14 years ago. And I realized very, very quickly that too many programs and too many companies, usually without knowing, were just skimming the surface or ticking a box, but they weren't going systemically enough into it. And people are still getting burnt out. And the cost is the financial cost, the human cost, the life cost is tragic.
Yeah.
And now it's not enough. Our sustainability and our resilience rests not on one area, on another area, or a bit of yoga or some healthy eating or some mindfulness or some running. We need to work on a systemic balance in ourselves and in our companies. Now, of course, the ideal thing is to prevent burnout, and that is simple and that is easy, and it's easily applicable to anybody in their lives or in a company or individually, so long as you catch it before it happens. So, and it has to be 360. So the misconception is that it's the fault of companies, and out there we see it all the time. Companies to blame, toxic cultures, whereas toxic cultures or lack of culture, the right type of culture, it might not make it easier, or in some cases, it might actually make it more likely that someone will burn out. The ownership is on each one of us. But we have to know what to do about it. So the 360 approach, first of all, we work on evaluation and diagnosis. So whether in a corporate team, whether in a leadership team, whether individually, we inform, we work with the diagnosis and evaluation, and then the program that I've been working with for as I said, almost 15 years, works on tailored solution for each one of us so as to find the balance, because there is no perfect balance. So this perfect work-life balance, it's a myth. What works for you might work for me in some areas of my life and work, and it might work from some of you guys out there all over the world, but it might not in other areas. And for other people, it might not work at all. So we are all very, very individual. Our jobs are different. Our responsibilities are different. And the demands we put on ourselves are different, and our likes and our dislikes. We are very diverse people. So the solutions are diverse. So these programs, whether it's in a keynote speech where I will give a rough idea and I'll give a sort of in a nutshell idea about what we need to do and the different tools we can take away to adapt. In the more in-depth programs, boardroom advisory, retreats, and longer-term programs, we work very much in depth with individuals. If we can't gain resilience and learn how to handle the stresses, either the normal stress and demands of these high-level positions or the stresses of major obstacles, and we will find major challenges and obstacles in our path, we won't be able to get through them and sustain our top performance. And some of us will crash and burn.
Yeah, we only change when we have a reason why.
Well, that's why my work works, because from a keynote, the very first thing that I will do when I run up or dance up on stage or just get introduced up on stage is, in the first moment, I will make the audience understand very clearly, not why am I so great and why am I so motivational? No, why what we're going to be talking about or what I'll be sharing with them, why it will benefit each person in the room, not just today in their jobs and outside their jobs, but moving forward in their lives and career. I'm hired by many companies. The click that makes them want to hire me can be precisely that, because they say we do so many programs and the people don't really change. The very first thing I do is a launch to get the buy-in of all the participants, because we have egos, and the only reason we do anything is because I want to. You want to. We all want. We have to want to for us, not because our company tells us, not because it's fashionable or our family tells us, because I want to, in that limbic part of the brain that fires up. So I can help people, I can help motivate people, but that won't make them put into place lasting change. What will is when they see what's in it for them.
You've got this palpable, infectious passion and nature about you. And I can see why you're so successful and sought after. So thank you so much for making the effort to come here.
Well, and I thank you. It's always a pleasure spending time with you. Thank you, because this has been a real pleasure.
Thank you. Fireside chat.
Yeah, a fireside chat.
Yeah.